Welcome back to RBP. I am Ross Bolen, and the next voice you will hear will be that of Jared Borislow, your co-host and my co-pilot on today's flight to Carcosa. J-Bone, the Bone Man. Jared, say something controversial into the camera.
The best flavor of Doritos is spicy sweet chili. Purple bag for life.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Spicy sweet chili. Okay.
It's
I think
delicious.
the debate is normally between nacho cheese and Cool Ranch, but
Yeah. If you're
but
a
sure,
loser.
throw spicy cheese chili into the loop.
Spicy sweet chili. It's like an Asian-inspired, very MSGE flavor. It's delicious.
Good Lord. I'd like to start today's show with an appeal on behalf of our entire listenership to God, the universe, President Biden, all world leaders, known pornographers, etc. Chill out for a while, eh? We're in here trying to make a comedy show, good sir or ma'am. Worldwide headlines have been a total downer for 2,000 straight years. How about a break? We're on the verge of Bo Burnham's "should I be joking at a time like this?" crisis becoming the permanent state of comedy. Like, I pull out Twitter, the daily newspaper of this modern world, and I'm like, let's see what fun happenstance is crack-a-lacking in society for Jared and I to make funny laughing jokes about today. And since early 2020, there's not been a single day where I didn't leave Twitter like, should we even do the show? It's the same with the newspaper and the news, too. That's why I turned the show into a mental health and social activism podcast for a full calendar year. Shit wasn't funny to me anymore. So in all seriousness, it is important for all of us to remember things have been a total shitstorm since the dawn of humanity. Human beings are chaos bringers. This is what we do. We fuck shit up. We also admirably try to fix it while continuing to mess it up even further, which is actually sort of funny in the end, in a very darkly comedic way. And if you want to live without the weight of all that nonsense on your shoulders every day, you can. It's a choice. But none of us are capable of solving all the world's problems because human beings can't be solved. You can let go of that facade if you want. You can live light and free. I know this because I finally got to visit Houston over the weekend, J-Bone.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally got to see my grandma for the first time since the holidays of 2019, right after my wife left me. And my grandma is just so damn solid, man. Even as a 92-year-old woman who does, like, physically shake, like some old people do. She's the most solid human I've ever known. She controls what she can control, her own attitude and outlook and mood, and she maintains this, like, unflinching positivity that isn't annoying. Like, overly positive, always happy people generally annoy the shit out of me. It's like, get some fucking problems like the rest of us, my guy. But Grandma Bolen doesn't make you feel like that at all. Like, she almost never talks about herself, in fact. All she does with every single person I've ever seen her talk to is tell them how much she loves them, update them on anything important going on with anyone they might want to know about, and try to give them money. I'm talking cousins, Toys R Us employees, mailmen, strangers in the hallway at her new apartment complex. I've watched her talk to probably hundreds of different people over the course of my life so far, and I've never seen her have a single negative interaction. She's a freak of nature. I have almost nothing in common with her. And yet she is also the person on earth I feel most comfortable with and connected to and at home with. I don't think my grandma ever did drugs in her whole life. Never really a big drinker, never been in trouble with the law. I snorted meth off a toilet seat and pissed myself on the floor of a jail cell. It's like, she never gets upset, never seems to be afraid or worried. Like, I'm constantly yelling, throwing full-blown tantrums, like chunking shit in the street, freaking the fuck out. Even on the darkest days, though, my grandma is able to remember what matters here and now and not let all the horrific shit going down around her and around the world get her or keep her down. She's able to, like, recount her blessings and remain grounded and present. And it's just this, like, calming, day-brightening presence for everyone she encounters. Like, this weekend, I swear to God, this is one of our interactions. She's like, "Did you hear about Afghanistan?" And I was like, "Yeah, it looks like really not good." And, like, the next beat was, "You know, when you were a little boy, I so enjoyed our time together at Dave & Buster's." And I was just like, yep. Because frankly, what the shit is either one of us going to do beyond that right there in that moment? So like she wanted to make sure I was paying attention to Afghanistan. Maybe she wanted to hear some takes, but also wanted to make sure I remember the good times we've had together in the same breath, because that's the fucking balance, people.
Yeah, I love that old person energy. Like, they're just so, like, chilled out because they got past all, like, the terrible anxiety-inducing shit, and now they're like, well, this is life
This is
now.
y'all shit to deal with, though.
Yeah, and I
That's
love
the other part of it. They're like, yeah, hell, man, that sucks. I'll be gone soon. Good luck, though.
Yeah, it's like, I respect old people so much, and I know Ross does as well, which is why for like 8 years of our lives, we dressed like 75-year-old men.
That's true.
Wearing short shorts and Sperry's and polos.
Yeah, really nothing else about the fraternity culture was enticing to me other than the binge drinking and the dressing like an old person. That was it.
Yeah,
All the other stuff was weird or upsetting.
I used to wear a lot of people get hand-me-downs from like their older brother, right? Or like their dad. I would literally get hand-me-downs from my grandma's boyfriend. It's not a joke. I have polos that were handed down to me from my grandma's boyfriend.
That's weird.
Neil.
You ever wanted dead guy's clothes?
Not that I know of, but I do get my clothes off eBay. So I have one shirt that easily was owned by somebody whose minimum age was 67.
I played golf with a dead man's golf clubs for several years. Rest in peace.
How'd they swing?
They swung really awfully, Jared. They were fucking terrible. They were actually old man golf clubs, so they were graphite.
Oh, there was
which made my slice even worse.
Flex shaft.
If you play golf, you know that's not the move, unless you're over the age of like 60 and you have issues with pain, because you're old.
Yeah,
anyway, but yeah, to your point, that's why it's so important to call your grandparents during the month of August, right?
Call your grandparents month.
All call your grandparents long. Anyway, when I walked into my grandma's apartment I finally got to see her again. I cried like a wee baby. Because I legitimately, there was a point where I really didn't know if I would get to see her again. Like, we've all kind of had that moment here or there, especially if you have older grandparents or parents or relatives, where you're like, shit, like, because it really is, you're one bad break away from the vid at any given moment now. So it's a scary thing. And it was just, and I've been through a lot since the last time I got to see her, so it made me realize how much the physical presence of friends and family when you're mourning or grieving or otherwise broken, which so many of us were denied this past couple years, and some of us desperately needed, like how important that is. Like having your people around you physically when you're trying to heal is imperative. And 2020 and the pandemic have just like totally screwed the system that most of us used to rely on for that. So to finally be getting to a place where those of us who are vaccinated and are fortunate enough to have our grandparents vaccinated, where we can go be with our family members again that we haven't been able to see is nice. In the midst of all the negativity, to have gotten that moment was huge for me. So get vaccinated so you can go see your grandparents. Definitely make sure your grandparents are vaccinated so you can go see them when the time comes. And remember, it is Call Your Grandparents Month all August long. I called mine, then I got to go see mine. It made my entire year, honestly. And I'm not just being like a cheese dick. Like it really did make my entire year.
Did it make your whole week?
My whole became so weak, Jared. And I will continue to remind all of you, along with J-Bone, to call your grandparents the next couple weeks. My grandma also said my cousins worry about me because they all listen to the show. And I was like, bullshit. I have like 9 cousins. It's like 3 of them who listen to the show, and I know which ones.
They're probably worried that you're just hanging out with me. Like, that J-Bone's a bad influence on you, Ross. He doesn't wear shoes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Not the 9 months of wildly depressing episodes in a row. Anyway, she said they were worried about me, and I was like, yeah, I guess that's fair. Again, kind of because last year. Who wanted to be joking at a time like that? Jared, one of the ways I try to stay grounded like my grandma is through meditation. With today's sponsor, Headspace. And if you have 10 minutes, Headspace can change your life. They really already have, technically, because today's episode is brought to you by Headspace. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. Headspace is one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. So whatever the situation, Headspace really can help you feel better. If you're overwhelmed, Headspace has a 3-minute SOS meditation for you. If you need some help falling asleep, Headspace has wind down sessions their members swear by. And for parents, Headspace even has morning meditations you can do with your kids. Very cool, Jared.
Very cool. Way to go. I thought meditation was complete hogwash for many years. And then eventually I was like, you know what?
Jarrett, you ignorant slut.
I was like, you know what? I have anxiety. Why don't I try the thing that everybody says helps and stop like using my own preconceptions about the word meditation that I got from like the Love Guru with Mike Myers. It's like all I knew about meditation. I saw that movie twice in theaters. I talked about that before. Did it. First time I did it, I entered this meditative state and I literally walked out onto the back patio and was like, Ross, I don't know what just happened to my brain, but I liked it. I liked it.
You were like, I just changed my freaking life. Headspace is backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 5-star reviews, over 60 million downloads, J-Bone, and Billy approved. They make it easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you on your schedule, anytime, anywhere, and you deserve to feel happier. Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/Ross today. That's headspace.com/Ross for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/Ross today. We're starting with a new segment today, J-Bone.
New segment.
Jared, it's called Riddle Me This, Batman, where we throw out a really interesting riddle or question that needs answering. This one we actually found on Twitter. Jared, I will let you read it.
Ross, what is a sign of intelligence that most people confuse with a sign of stupidity?
So something that causes people to call someone stupid, that actually signifies that they are smart.
It is, yes, the opposite. Like, oh, you're
There's
dumb
some
for
obvious
doing
ones.
this. Yeah. Yeah.
There's some obvious ones, like the quietest person in the room. Oftentimes, people assume something's wrong with that guy or girl or whatever. What's that dude's deal? He's just watching the rest of you spew. He's taking it all in, plotting, learning, accumulating knowledge, biding his time. Watch out for that guy.
Do you know who else was the quietest one in the room?
Whom?
The Robert Pattinson in Twilight. He was a vampire, so.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's just a thought. Do you have any more, Ross?
One of them's kind of obvious. Smoking the marijuana like a cigarette. Jared, I smoke weed like Nate Dogg, and I'm an infallible genius who never makes any mistakes. Smoking pot means you're smart enough to be concerned enough about the world, to be depressed or anxious enough to need to get a little high so you don't feel low.
It's well put.
It is.
I've got a few. I put this one on Twitter. Getting scammed via email time and time again because of the off chance that one of them ends up not being a scam and you become a millionaire overnight.
Exactly. Everybody thinks you're a moron if you get sucked into one of those, and it's like, yeah, until it hits.
You know, there's
just like
only
when you're playing roulette.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just throwing your money away. Sure I am. Until it hits.
There are only so many people I can talk to who claim to be Nigerian princes until one of them actually is one.
Right.
If you think
Stop
about
betting
it.
0-0. Watch this next drive.
We do not negotiate with terrorists. Now watch this drive. Another one I got. Using anger and hatred to try and get people to change their minds. Everybody knows you attract more bees with a flamethrower than with honey.
That's true.
If you don't like the way somebody thinks, yell at
Bees
them.
love flamethrowers.
They do.
Obsessed with them. Like moths to light bulbs, bees to flamethrowers. That's the other meme.
Can't get enough.
Didn't see that one, did you?
Bee movie. The crazy thing about bees is they have tiny little wings. And so all laws of aerodynamics maintain that with such small wings, they shouldn't be able to fly.
Right.
But they can, and they fly toward flamethrowers.
Exactly. And that's actually the entire plot of Bee Movie. I have another one that often people mistake for a sign of stupidity that is in fact a sign of intelligence. Large breast augmentations. Many of the smartest women I know have huge fake cannons. My mom is one of them. Sexist society has always painted these women negatively, and it's wrong, Jared.
It is wrong.
The patriarchy is wrong about huge doctor-made titties.
I've got another one, Ross. Something that, people are like, oh, that guy's stupid, when really he's the smartest one in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Shitting yourself. It saves time. Time is our most valuable asset, Ross. So if you shit yourself, saves like at least 10 minutes a day.
Why go to the restroom when the room you're in is the one in which you could rest?
That's a good way to look at it, because then you can rest. Every room is restful for you if you shit yourself.
Yeah, every time I see somebody get up to go to the bathroom, I'm like, what a moron. This is exactly why I'm wearing Depends. And then I just rip.
Yeah.
And people are like, what is that smell and noise? And I'm like, mind your fucking business, Janice.
You're disrupting the rest.
I got another one.
Yeah.
People often think this makes you an idiot, but it's jaywalking.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, fuck crosswalks. They took Afghanistan back in 2 weeks. I'm not walking an extra 500 yards in 115-degree heat. If I die, I die. I know the risks. Let me make my own decisions. I'm an adult. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America. Goddamn government out here telling me when I can and where I can and can't cross the street. That sounds like communist North Korea to me, Carl.
It does. Another one I have, ordering a cheeseburger, hold the cheese. Because mentally when you eat it, you can still taste the cheese because it's a cheeseburger, even though there's no cheese on it.
That's fucking genius.
Thank you.
It's all about mind games, Jared. People tend to forget that.
Mm-hmm.
You have any more?
That's it for me.
Wow. You know what else people forget? That it's summertime and it's hot as balls outside, and your balls need a safe space to spend these scorching months. Enter our sponsor today, Birddogs, making the most comfortable shorts in the world in which you can go swimming, climb a tree, play cricket. They also make pants for golf, for life, for love, for swimming. If you want to be part of the revolution like Jared and I, we are swimming in pants all summer 2021. Birddogs, they're incredibly comfortable shorts with built-in underwear. Even their pants have underwear built in. Nobody will know, though, because they look so nice. You're just cheating the system, winning at life. And frankly, if you don't want to cheat the system and all the way win at the highest possible level with built-in underwear, they do make the most incredibly comfortable pants and shorts in the world.
Yeah.
Without the underwear built in. And what's more, Jared, you remember when you were a small child and you would receive a toy in your Happy Meal or in your cereal box? Well, when you order from Birddogs.com today with the code RBP, you will get a free whistling football with your order, folks. Look at it. It's beautiful. It's orange. It's blue. It whistles when you throw it through the sky like the Nerf you had when you were a child. You can recapture those memories now as an adult when you go to Birddogs.com. Use the code RBP at checkout and get the most comfortable shorts or pants in the world with built-in or without built-in underwear. It's up to you. Free whistling football. Birddogs.com, code RBP. As some of you know, Jared and I actually worked together for several years before Bolen Media existed at a company where Jared started as an intern in college at Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, before that, so I interned for you specifically. Ross forgets about this entire year of his life, I think. I've brought it up before, and he had absolutely no recollection. So,
total disassociation, fully out your mind. But yeah, what? Tell me.
So the summer.
Tell me about my life, Jared.
The summer between my sophomore and junior year of college. My junior year started. This has been 2013 summer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2013 summer. I was like, hey, do you guys have any like on-site internships? And Ross was like, hey, we don't have any this summer because they didn't. He wasn't just lying to me. They didn't end up having any. But what you can do.
Why would you assume I was just lying to you? What the fuck?
Well, you never know. I didn't know you very well back then. You were like, here's what you can do, though. We'll have you on as a social media intern. And
you can let me take you out back and spank your tight little ass. And he was like, oh, what?
I'm going to fly down to Austin for that? I'm like 2,500 miles away. Ross goes, here's what you can do. We need a social media intern. My job that Ross gave me was to schedule a photo to go up on the TFM Facebook page every 2 hours every day.
Dude, that took a lot of skill, though, and a lot of determination.
I remember we had to talk because for 4th of July, I picked a bunch of American photos and they were all crushing. And you were like, man, you're doing a great job, Jared. And I was like, one day, this guy's going to take me out back and spank my tight little ass.
And here we are. Look at us now.
I knew it. But so that
it really is weird, though. Like, our being here doing the show now is another example of like shit that like you just can't make this shit up. Life's crazy.
It is.
The way it ends up working out.
I ended up the next summer, I actually interned on site. I would literally lived in Austin, moved
on site
in between. Yeah, it was on site back then. You and my ass.
Mm-hmm.
It was on site. So in between my junior and senior year, I lived in Austin for over 2 months, interned 40 hours a week. And did we start ping pong then? Or I don't think it was till I was full time.
Nah, it wasn't until you were full time.
Yeah.
That the ping pong era really broke out. I think like you actually reported to the guy who reported to me which is just to give you all an idea of how many people I was in charge of at one point, more than anything, because my boss disappeared for like 2 years. Anyway, so Jared and I got to be coworkers at a leaderless company, which resulted in us playing a shit ton of ping pong together.
Like a lot. Like at least, I would say minimum 2. 2 was like a bad day. Like if we played only 2 games.
That's because we worked hard that day.
Yes.
Yeah. So like we had like 50 plus employees at our peak, and frankly, many of these people were terrible to play ping pong with. They were either non-athletic or just fucking awkward and weird about it, or too serious and not fun, or had a shitty style of play. So Jared eventually became my exclusive ping pong partner for a really long time. Like I didn't play against anyone else. It was probably really weird for the rest of the office now that I'm thinking about it.
Like I would play anybody who wanted to because I was the #1 ranked player in the office. Now I wasn't necessarily,
but I wouldn't play anybody but you.
Exactly, which is really funny. Which shows how much I played.
And sometimes I'd see him playing somebody else and be like, "Fucking slut." You know?
Yeah. So the reason why Ross and I are the 2 best people that you could like watch ping pong with as a spectator, and I mean for amateurs, obviously. And watching the pros is fun because they're like going insane.
Yeah, sure, that's fun or whatever.
But if you want to watch 2 people who are like really good at ping pong, oddly, who shouldn't be, it's me and Ross. And the reason why it's so fun is because our play styles could not be more opposite. And I mean,
and we've played each other for like has to be 1,000 games at this point. So the rallies do go for way longer than they should, frankly.
We've had over minute-long rallies multiple times.
Where Jared ends up 23 feet away from the table. We used to play, and here's one of the problems we have to discuss today with our audience, is that we had an office that was just ridiculously large. It was like a warehouse with a ping pong table.
It was an old paint factory.
Well, now we're in a house, a small house in South Austin. More like, imagine like Silicon Valley style. So like we don't have a place to put a ping pong table other than the garage.
Yeah.
And like the driveway's not flat.
And it's windy. I cannot play wind-affected ping pong.
Hell no. Wind-affected ping pong is for dorks in California. And the other problem is it's 147 degrees outside. The other problem is the garage is pretty low, so there's not going to be like the ability to like just be as much of a dickbag when you unnecessarily spike one down the other person's throat, you know?
Yeah.
That being said, there is good chance for extremely funny injury, which presents in and of itself another angle for entertainment.
Yeah.
All of this is to say, Jared and I have discussed for weeks now, like, dude, the one thing we're missing is a ping pong table. Like we've got like ridiculous gaming PCs. We just in fact for they're gaming PCs, but also fully capable of all the media stuff that we need them to do as well, which is a lot of video editing. Obviously the more important part. Yeah, like Jared's in there crushing hours and hours of video editing every single day at this point. But we did just get Jared and the Formula Bone team, which is just Jared, a brand new like F1 steering wheel and pedal rig for the PC for him to play the F1 PC game, live on twitch.tv/SirJBone. At Formula Bone now on Twitch. Sorry, twitch.tv/Formula Bone. And we're very much looking forward to that. But the thing we're missing is a ping pong table. So I think we've decided there really is only one place to put it unless we want to concrete the whole backyard, which the dogs, neighborhood, and environment will be upset about. So we have to put it in the garage. We have no choice. We're just going to have to risk it. Now we just need to figure out a way to stream it.
Yes. I mean, I think we just get the webcam in there, right?
Maybe we can get MyBookie to take action on our games.
I think we could, but before we talk any further on this, something I said before I need to elaborate on.
Sure, elaborate.
Is the difference in our play styles, okay?
Of course. Back to you, Jared.
Back to me.
Back to you, Jared.
Ooh, it worked. So here's the deal. Ross's play style, I'll say first. Ross is very tall, very lanky. His reach is outstanding, okay?
It's true.
He essentially stands in the middle of the table, dick up to the table. Essentially, his dick is pretty much laying flat on the table.
I use it to weigh me down on the table, and that way I have just sort of this ability to play both sides. Yeah,
it's like a clamp in a wood shop.
Exactly. It's the exact same thing. That's exactly what my dick looks like.
So he goes dick to the table and just stands there like Gumby and just like moves his arms around while standing like a tree. Now, my play style is completely opposite. I'm almost never standing within 3 feet of the table. So what happens is I hit it back to Ross.
Also unnecessarily so. So like I'm unnecessarily all over the table like Gumby, just arms flailing like a fucking idiot. But before a rally has even really begun, Jared has retreated at least 5 feet from the table.
Yes, because I love running around and I love diving. People say I'm like a spider monkey. And can you people always make fun of me. Oh, Jared's not athletic. That's why he plays disc golf. He's not an athlete. Oh, J-Bone's fat. Oh, J-Bone, look at his stomach. Oh, J-Bone, look at those big cheeks. You look like Santa.
Who the fuck says these things to you? Let's go whoop their ass.
Yeah, the haters and losers, of which there are many.
There are many.
But people, can you explain to people how I, against all visual odds, am unbelievably athletic around a ping pong table?
It's true. But I'll also state that, like, ping pong is sneaky like this. Like, the very best ping pong player at the same company we're talking about where we played so many games is not a dude I'd consider to be, like, overly athletic. Just like I don't think anybody would consider me to be overly athletic. In fact, I think I'm more athletic than most people think I am, too. Like, same way as you are. Because, like, example, like, our buddies at our former company, like, I don't think those dudes would have even, like, blinked an eye if I was like, let's go play basketball one-on-one. But, like, I would work a couple of those. At least a couple few. All of them.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
And people for a while thought they could beat me. And then it slowly got around like, oh, Jared's like really good. So we had a whole entire leaderboard. So then people started
challenging you, though.
We had a whole leaderboard, okay? There was like a picture the other day of the leaderboard. The fact that we
somebody put it on social media?
I found it the other day.
Oh, okay.
My record was just absurd. And it's like one of those things where if you look at that leaderboard, at the amount of games played, you understand why the company folded.
Oh, well, and to be fair, that's sort of an important piece of the puzzle here. We were playing so much ping pong, not because we were shitty employees, but because this place was it was like being on the top end of the Titanic. If it had been sinking a lot slower and with less death involved, and if somebody had come up to you and said, do you want to play a game of ping pong? You would have said, abso-fucking-lutely. So that was what we were doing, the whole company, though. So, like, it was just very, very apparent that things were not going to improve from their already downward spiraling state. And everybody kind of checked into just like, how can we get through each day? So like you would do work, but you played a lot of ping pong or golden tee or Xbox or whatever, or smoked a shit ton of weed or cigarettes or, I mean, it
vapes,
was
a lot of vapes.
Everybody was doing what they could to just get through this thing day to day the last really at least year. So yes, it is a good example of why the company folded, but I think we were already there, and that's why we played so much ping pong. At least for me, because like I saw a lot, like I knew too much, so I was just like, and that's honestly was one of the reasons I couldn't play with anybody else, because I felt like you and I always had a very we were always on the same page with like our relationship at work and being friends, right? It never got weird where I had to like answer questions for you that I didn't want to fucking answer because I couldn't or something like that. Yeah. And there was never really a situation where I couldn't share information with you that I wasn't supposed to or something like that. I forget my point.
Talking about playing ping pong with other people that weren't me.
Oh, but other people would be, it felt like there was like small talk that was supposed to occur, you know?
Yeah.
And then a lot of
them
either didn't like me or were scared of me or wanted to ask me questions. And any of those options were terrible for me to be playing a ping pong game. I was too awkward, man. I don't like confrontation. You and me had fun competitive games, but like our vibes aren't like those opposite magnets where you're like, I kind of actually do want to fight this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people would play, I'll be in a serious game with some people, and I'm like, it's the fun friend competition, but also I kind of do want to fight them. And that's not good.
And no, if you were ever going to fight somebody around the ping pong table, though, like it would have been me, because on at least over the years, I would say on at least 5 different occasions, I won a game against you with a behind the back slam. Now, people don't know this about me.
See, but what did every time I guarantee you, I walked away like, it's the Ron Burgundy thing. Like, I'm not even mad.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
You would never expect it about me. I am the biggest ping pong showboating asshole of all time. God. But when these people who I would beat their ass, I would let them get up like 10-5 because I would give them like 5 points from me doing through the leg shots, behind the back shots, and then they'd be like, oh my God, I have a chance. And I'd win like 21-14, something like that.
But such an asshole. It was fucked up. Like sometimes I'd walk by the table and I'd see him playing somebody that I knew was garbage, and I'd be like, what's the score? And Jared would be down like 8, and I'd be like, dude, what a psycho. He's just fucking luring this person in so he can ruin their day. And the other funny part is, if you're really good at ping pong and you're playing somebody that you know sucks, and you just want to get reps in, like, yeah, you give some points up. But this dude was doing that, and it was just shamefully obvious.
I need to practice my behind the backs and through the legs again. Oh, those are so good.
God, we need to order it right after the show ends today.
Yeah, I mean,
we really do.
We have to.
We really do. And seriously, I really am going to see if MyBookie will take action on our games. And then we're going to stream them live on twitch.tv. And that'll be that. More to come. MyBookie.ag has all the live lines, prop bets, and futures your little heart could desire as far as sports go. If you're into sports betting, if you like sports, betting baseball games right now perhaps. What else is going on? Football, NFL football preseason has begun. The NFL season is coming.
Formula One,
really arguably the biggest gambling season of the year is about to begin. And that is why we have a sports betting sponsor, MyBookie.ag, where you can go and use the code RBP to both support the podcast when you sign up and deposit, and to get a deposit bonus. Stipulations apply, but yeah, if you're not into sports for some reason, they also have a live casino. It's wild as hell. They have live dealers and blackjack and roulette and shit. You're watching a camera of the dealer like at an actual table, like putting the cards down, and you can chat to them almost like a Twitch-esque experience, except with a dealer. It's friggin' bizarre and amazing. Check it out today, mybookie.ag. Again, use the code RBP for that deposit bonus and to support the podcast. We appreciate y'all.
We do. Hey, Ross, it's a short week for me.
It is. Very short.
I'm headed up to northern Wisconsin on Wednesday. I believe I'm going to be in Milwaukee Wednesday night, Thursday night, head up to Eagle River, right near the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where that touches Wisconsin, which again...
Are you getting hard right now?
I might be. I haven't been to Wisconsin since October of last year. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, as I said, Ross, I will be like within half an hour of the Michigan-Wisconsin border, which again, the Michigan-Wisconsin border is the weirdest border in America, right?
Because I have no idea. I've never been. What the hell's weird about it?
Okay, Ross. So Michigan is the mitten state. You know, it's like that peninsula surrounded by all the Great Lakes, right?
You saying mitten?
It's a mitten state. It looks like a mitten, like a little mitten.
Okay, didn't know that. Okay.
Now, Michigan is a two-part state. You have the main piece of Michigan and then the Upper Peninsula, which essentially is just a part of Wisconsin that Michigan has annexed.
Sure, like we did with the Panhandle and Oklahoma.
Exactly. The UP is sparsely populated. It's got like one big city in it. It's all forest and like you know, hideaways and hermits.
Bodies.
I almost said Kermits.
That's where they put the bodies.
Kermit the Frog has a summer home on the UP maybe. But the point is this. Wisconsin needs to take over the UP of Michigan. Why would they not?
I think because you'd have to declare like a state-on-state war. How's that work? Are we allowed to war with just a state? Like if we're like, we've got no beef with the rest of y'all, but Texas has had enough of Oklahoma's shit, we're fucking taking it. And frankly, most of the Oklahomans would just be like, yeah, whatever. But so, come on. We should be allowed to war within ourselves. The government is constantly going to war in other countries for 20 years that we can't even fucking hold for more than 2 weeks after we leave. We can't go state to state. I can't go to war with New Mexico or like, really, what I would like to do is go to war with like Las Vegas over the gambling stuff. Like if we win the war, the gambling shit is ours.
This is a great spur of the moment segment. What would be the best state wars? I've got a good one, okay? Obviously
there would be some contention.
So Texas, Oklahoma, big rivalry. Texas would obviously kill Oklahoma because we have like more people in Dallas than they do in their whole state.
It's just not a fair fight, yeah.
Now, here's my favorite.
No offense to Oklahoma, all due respect, but y'all would just get wall-to-wall waxed.
The best state war would be a proxy war, okay? Texas would have New Mexico fight Arizona because Arizona borders California. It would be a Texas-California proxy war fought via New Mexico is backed by Texas. Arizona is backed by California.
You're trying to do a trial by combat where we can pay other states or get other states to fight in our stead?
Yeah, because if New Mexico beats Arizona, then we essentially have all the way from Texas to California. We've got a new battle line because we have an ally in New Mexico. So then we can fight all the Californians on the Arizona, which is now part of New Mexico, border.
Jesus Christ.
Thought a lot about this, Ross.
Okay. You really thought a lot about it for something that we didn't talk about discussing before the show started. Yeah, I don't know what other state-to-state wars I'd be looking forward to seeing. And this is, of course, you know,
what are the North and South ones?
Writing off the loss of life.
North Dakota, South Dakota? Like, how does that work? Do they already fight to make it North and South?
Do they care? Do they give a shit? What the hell is happening there? What is with the states that have two parts?
Now,
North
also,
and South Carolina. Why?
Virginia and West Virginia. Why is it not East Virginia and West Virginia?
Why didn't this get remedied after the Civil War ended? I get that maybe right afterward they were like, okay, fine. Y'all are arguing too much. Fucking split it in half. North Carolina, South Carolina. Y'all can be racist down there, and up north everybody can be normal. And why didn't at some point later on, maybe 10, 20 years down the road, they obviously revisit that, remove the line, and just call the fucking thing Carolina?
Carolina.
Can you imagine if we had a North Texas, South Texas, but those were individual states? It'd be confusing as shit. Now they're just colleges.
You know that there was a famous folk singer who wrote a song trying to combine North and South Carolina. It was James Taylor. Going to Carolina in my mind. The one state, Carolina, that's a combination of North and South.
Why are there so many good songs about Carolina? What's that about?
Oh, I know another one. Carolina, Carolina. It's Roses by Outkast.
That's Caroline. Just like Neil Diamond's is Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Carolina.
Still not the
Whoa.
Carolina that I was thinking of a Lucas Nelson song. Look, forget it. The point is, you go to MyBookie.ag and use the code RBP. No, what were we talking about?
The states warring. I think a great interstate war
The states warring.
would be Vermont versus New Hampshire. Because if you look at them, like they're just two states 69ing each other. Okay, have you ever looked at them?
Yeah. Jared, have I looked at them? I've pleasured myself to that image.
Like it's like the ultimate fight to see who's on top.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be on top or bottom?
Of 69?
Yeah.
I'm
I don't know which is preferable.
gonna argue that you want to be on top, but I'm also gonna say that it's too awkward, especially if you're like a well-hung man. It's gonna go. Just don't.
You're speaking from experience over here. Hey, everybody, Ross has a big penis.
Not even for me, man. But I've seen pornography. I've watched other people have sex with each other on the internet, and you can't do that to her, man. That's not right. Stop. You stop that.
It's
anyway,
like that TikTok trend.
the fuck is going on in here now?
Hey, you're hurting her.
This is exactly why we have a rundown. So that this doesn't happen. Whatever this is, now we've got the states going to war and we're laughing about it. Maybe it is. See, this is why it's not that we shouldn't be joking at a time like this. This is the exact reason why comedy exists. We have to joke about everything because it's too brutal to not.
Wyoming versus Colorado, the battle of the rectangles. Who's a better rectangle?
I want to watch super, 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 super left-wing states fight. What are like the two most liberal states?
Probably like Vermont and... See, normally I would say Oregon, but Eastern Oregon is super conservative. It's just Western Oregon.
I want to see like Maine and Connecticut. I don't know why that was the hand sign I went with there.
I think they border. You know the capital of Maine?
They're all up in that tiny-ass area where it's a bunch of teensy ones, and if you ever get in a competition where you have to name the states like you did, most people slip, but you didn't.
I named all 50 states without missing a
Jared,
beat.
it was like 3-4 months ago, man.
On stream.
We're not idiots. We remember. Even I remember, and my memory is very, very short.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
It's true. Non-spawn.
I told you what I used to do in college, right?
What?
The library was next to a Walgreens. So I'd go in with my Balance Rewards card, and I'd go and I'd buy a Mountain Dew amp, and I'd buy a bag of Milanos, a double chocolate Milanos, and I'd buy a bag of peanut butter filled pretzels. And I'd go into the library for 8 hours after not going and paying attention to any lectures for an entire semester, and then I'd get a solid B on the final.
Damn, son.
Yep.
It's fucking disgusting. But that's college, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to get through that shit.
And everybody's always like, oh, man. Because I would go to the stacks, like the desks that are in the middle of all the books. And everybody's like, oh, man, they say like people fucking there. And I was like, I never have, and I've never seen anybody do it. But also, I'm a total loser. So what does that mean?
Well, you're a winner now, Jared, and that's what counts to me.
Yeah. I guess.
Can I also say, for people who hate school, I promise you, a lot of it is just you need to like prove that you could finish something that nobody wants to do.
Yeah.
I hated that shit. It was awful. It sucked. a lot of shit that you have to do in life sucks. That's the lesson. If you don't like school and you're like, I hate learning, I hate school, I hate the classroom. I mean, look, I'm not saying it's not for some people. Some people, it's just not for you. Like, go do your thing. Shine on, you crazy diamond. But for a lot of y'all that are just bitching all the time about school, studying, finals, fuck. Look, we all do it. It's like a rite of passage almost. Like, hey, prove you're not totally worthless.
Yeah. It's
just do it, and pay us a lot of money while you do it too. Give us like $150,000, and make this level of grade point average, and then we will give you the piece of paper that tells everybody you're not a turd.
Yep. And then that experience within a college is being in a fraternity where you pay $40,000 over the course of 4 years to have your butthole spanked with a fucking paddle and to drink natural light. And also, during the course of pledgeship, eat hot dogs that are a stick of butter on a hot dog roll and drink a combination of dip, spit, and cum out of a Sperry.
Jesus Christ, dude.
No, I didn't have to do those things, but Ross did.
No, I didn't. And after you graduate and we give you the piece of paper, we'll come back every year and ask you for more money.
I cannot understand. I fell into a trap when this happened to me. I paid them all the money, whatever. I leave, and they're like, hey, remember when you paid us all that money?
Don't pretend we all forgot what you just said. Just want to throw that out there. Don't pretend. We all heard you, Jared. We all remember. Never forget. Go ahead.
They're like, hey, like, you know how you paid us all that money? Like, we need more. It's essentially like a collection agency. There's an implication they're going to destroy my kneecaps if I say no. So I'm like, no. But what they did when I left college was they said, hey, here's the deal. If you make a $5 pledge, you don't have to pay us right now, but make a pledge and we'll give you this cool little Wisconsin W you stick on your laptop keyboard.
Okay.
And it's a nice little reminder of college whenever you're tickety-tacking it away on your computer, right?
Yeah, I remember seeing that on your keyboard and being really upset.
Well, what happened was they used the fact that I pledged $5 and never paid them to call me every single week for like 2 years. Until I finally said, if I pay you, will you stop calling me? And they said yes. And I didn't pay. And they stopped calling.
I sent mine like $10 like 2 years after I graduated when I think I got my salary up to above $30,000 and I was like, I am fucking rich. I'm going to send my college $10 because that's what people do. And then the same thing happened. They put me on the list and they blow me up. And one year I even bought season tickets for football because they were like $50 for all the games. And that's not a joke. And they never stopped calling me about that either, which is another thing about college. It's stupid as shit. After you pay them all that money and then they give you the piece of paper and then you keep sending them money and you have this weird loyalty to this organization that represents you in absolutely no fashion or form in the most part. I'll give you an example. Baylor University. My mom went to Baylor, unfortunately. My mom's a big Baylor bear.
Yikes.
But like some Baylor sports shit came up over the weekend or something about Baylor and I was like, I had to say, Mom, you don't have to pretend you're like, that's the exact, if it push comes to shove, you abandon your affiliation with your school.
And you did that.
Yes, there's nothing there for me. These people represent me in zero fucking way. They're not going to get a single penny or dime from me. I appreciate the piece of paper, but that exchange was ridiculous. I think I funded the whole police department for like a year and a half off my bond alone. Like everything. My dad paid for a semester of school. God bless you, Steve. For that got expunged. Like it never even happened. They just collected a full semester of room, board, classes, textbooks, all that shit for me. And eventually we had to go beg them to pretend that never happened. And they eventually they were like, okay. And we were stoked. We were like, thank you. I called the dean like years later to thank him again because that was the only reason I got to stay in school, frankly. My GPA the first semester was a .40, so if they hadn't expunged it, I was never going to get above a 2.25 or whatever you have to graduate.
0.4. What is that? A 1D in their SDFs?
Mm-hmm.
Actually?
Mm.
What'd you get a D in?
I have no fucking clue, man. I was barely there mentally.
Oh.
I was high as shit, drunk as fuck. I was so fucked up. Honestly, it's a miracle I survived. In hindsight, I might be unkillable. I might be the unbreakable dude, like that Bruce Willis movie.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Hey, today, let's go out back and you can shoot me in my tight little ass instead of me spanking you, and we'll see if I'm unkillable.
If you're going to kill somebody, the ass is like the last place to shoot them. It's the biggest fat deposit on the body.
I know. I don't want it to hurt too much.
Then you won't die.
I'm joking, Jared. You're not going to get to shoot me in the ass today. Sorry. Can't believe we talked about the states warring.
I think that's a phenomenal concept. That's going to be a good clip.
Did you know there are people making a push away from text messages back to phone calls? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I've heard about this.
That actually infuriates me. If you're one of these people, I would love to hear your takes on social media. So would Jared, at WR Bolen, at Jared Borislow. I need your argument. Because I'm sorry, I cannot stand phone calls unless they're my grandma. Unless it's a grandparent, what are you doing on the phone? Unless it's somebody who doesn't know how to text.
Yeah. I refuse to answer phone calls these days. I love getting a phone call that is just numbers because it's an automatic decline for me and I don't have to even think about answering it.
Yeah,
it could be my bank being like, hey, fraud alert, please let us know.
I don't want to know what it is. I don't care if it's if you're going to have to leave a voicemail or text me because that's the police to me.
Oh, the worst thing that happens in Austin, we get these automated calls from the cops going, do you not get these?
No, why am I not on any of these cool lists?
You don't want to be on
the shitty list. I get blown up 150 times a day from like Idaho.
I'm on the silver alert list.
What do they send you?
The silver alert list is whenever there's a missing old person.
Oh.
I get called and they go, be on the lookout for.
They call you?
Yes.
And they go, hey, Jared.
No, it's an automated message.
Mr. Borislow.
Like
there is a license plate. Silver. Tahoe.
I am inside of this house, this studio, 8 hours a day. And
Right.
the time I'm not here, I'm in my house or driving in between the two. I'm not going to see this dude.
But they call you and they ask you to look out for a specific person and vehicle?
It's an automated message that says, be on the lookout for a man,
Jane Doe.
60 years old, gray hair, last seen here.
Walmart.
Like,
Man, that's
respect.
wild.
Like, I respect that they're trying to find this guy, but like,
Do you think there
It's not
are
gonna be
people who
me.
get those calls and they're like, let's fucking go? Like going to find him? Have you seen that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, Nightcrawler?
no.
Do you think there's a version? Well, he's a late night ambulance chaser with a camera where he just films really gruesome, disturbing shit, and it like goes from there. It's wild. Do you think there's a version of that for old people that it can't be found? That when they get those calls, they're just like a team of people. It's just like dun da 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 da, and they take to the highway and they're just fucking out there looking for the olds.
No.
Okay, just wanted to be clear.
I don't know how I got on this list.
I don't either.
I would like to get off. But they don't text. I can't reply stop because they're calling me. It's frustrating.
Well, Jared, let's go find out. What else were we supposed to do right after the show ended?
Oh, buy a ping pong table.
We're going to buy a ping pong table and find out how to get ourselves on those do not call lists for 2021. I will leave you with these words. Even if you are not ready for the day, it cannot always be night. Until Wednesday, Bumblebee Tuna.